All right, welcome back, everyone. I have been very busy lately with the holiday season and just IRL stuff, so I didn't stream earlier this week. I did want to get one stream out, especially with the new tech that I think is good, although I don't know the exact numbers I want, before Eternal Weekend in Pittsburgh. So I guess this would be that stream. The new tech is the Invigorate that I played in the showcase challenge this past Sunday. Uh, it won me 3 games. So, and I think I cast it 3 times. So, I'm pretty convinced by the card. I just don't know the correct number. Maybe it should just be a sideboard card. Uh, 1 second. Sorry. I apologize. I'll be right back. I'll cut the stream. That was literally 2 minutes. It doesn't want to. It's fine. It's fine. All right, I am back. We'll see how optimal I can play while holding a little baby here. But yeah, the short story was I wanted to get reps in so people could see the power level of free spells. I guess. Everything else is pretty straightforward. I'm firmly in the 8 dorks or 8 higher camp. Strongest mana base possible. The only flex clan is really the lair, which I think is a necessary evil as a payoff, and bog, which is just like win target game against a lot of decks. Um, Only one shepherd. I think the second one is like pretty good potentially. Instead of maybe the main deck invigorate, I just want to push the limits of the card. One aspect that I like about the Invigorate is it's very difficult for opponents to play around. And the reason why I wanted to try the card again was because before I felt like it was too narrow, namely only good against lightning bolt decks. But now I felt like with Bowmasters being a pretty big part of the metagame, it's a counterspell against pretty much any red deck and often a counterspell against black decks as well. Blue decks typically rely on one other color. It's not good, in my opinion, against white decks. And against green decks, it really depends. So sometimes it can be really good, and I think against the ones that focus on using it as dismember as removal, it's probably really good. So good against like 8 cast and things like that. Sideboard's pretty stock. No opposition agent. It's probably fine. I just felt like recently it's a little slow, and I think everything else is kind of necessary. Like I think I want two Nidos for Merit Lage decks, specifically lands that have it quicker and probably more consistently. Um, and then 4 Thoughtseize for Snuff Outs. Like it's pretty straightforward stuff. We can play. If it doesn't work out, we'll try again, but we'll see how far we get. Hey, Dark Dog, how's it going? This is a mulligan. No one drop and two God's Cradle is effectively a mulligan already, anyways. Um, Very rarely will you. Um, I think it's okay against Moonstompy. Like there are certain hands from them that we cannot beat, but I think overall I don't like hate the matchup, especially with the new Invigorate tech that helps. Um, it's to me it it's anywhere from even to maybe slightly unfavorable in my opinion. With the new builds with the Bombardier. Obviously, you want to be on the play. My one of my losses actually in the showcase challenge was to Moonstompy. I lost game one without really getting to play Magic. I won game two because I was on the play, and lost game three because I didn't really get to play Magic. So I think that's kind of how that matchup is. Like if you're on the play, you're probably okay, but otherwise it may be hard. For what it's worth, that player finished in top 16. And actually, my losses, I went 6-3. My opponents were top 8, ninth, and 13th, I think. And so I was probably technically alive for the top 8 going to the last round, but I lost to Doomsday, which I beat earlier in the round. And I think I played against no, sorry, 4 combo matchups overall. And the deck is built to be combo, but like at a certain point, right? Like you can bend it but not break. I think I can only handle so many combo decks before I eventually lose. So I beat Doomsday earlier. I beat Beseech Ant. I think I Beseech. If you count Turbo Muxes, I beat that as well. So I beat 3 combo decks and then eventually lost to the 4th combo deck. My other 2 losses were to 4C, 5C Control, and that felt like maybe my deck was either ill prepared or I didn't draw well because they just ran amok with 5 colors and I couldn't really punish that. And then I lost one other one. I don't remember off the top of my head. Doomsday was my final round. So I lost to Moonstompy was my first loss, and then 5C Control, and then Doomsday, and then I beat I want to say Delver, Royal Cascade, which is a very difficult matchup. Doomsday, Beseech Storm and something else I'm not remembering. I went 6 and 3. I feel like we're getting the Bayou here, so at least threaten snuff out. What is going on? Why are they playing that card? It's a high chance I'm gonna misplay it, but you know, we tried. Argument to be made, we're supposed to play a fetch there, in case they like randomly have Magus main deck, but I think it's fine. I actually want them to waste me, given my mana base at the moment. So I'm kind of okay with that. I think this Chris is going to run away with the game potentially. Ironically enough, the Chalice there would be quite helpful. Sure. Don't think we actually care about that card. Yeah, I know. So anybody have any questions so far? I'm curious why the question against Moon stuff. I guess maybe because the new goblins, all the rage. Had them draw a card, never. Sure. I was gonna do it beforehand. Let's do that. We're gonna clean up their timeless dragon here. Yes and no, Sadra. I had to pick them up because they were not having a good time in the bed earlier. Um, Maybe here we get the Shepherd so we can unlock our deck. So if that's the case, actually let's do this. I want to bash with all first. That's 5, 6. I'm doing it this way because I don't want to actually mill the one shipper in my deck. I want to get the Reclaimer down. Alright. That was easy peasy. Wasteland the Stompy decks. Very interesting. I think actually Endurance is not that great in this matchup. I'll just bore them out. I don't love Invigorate either because they're like a white base removal deck. We don't have really have much though. We saw main deck like that orb. Maybe Force is fine. I don't love it. The problem is that everything else is kind of bad. Thank you, Sadro. That's a mean card. I think I just want to hit land drops, given their start. Yeah, that's the problem, right? We don't have Forcible to stop this nonsense. What do we do here? There's a chance they have Wasteland. Yeah, I don't remember Sage. I don't think it's that good. I know, right? The question is like, are we playing around the Wasteland or not? I feel like probably. Let's do this. Like these decks tend to run Magus too. I don't know. They're probably not splashing red, to be honest. Sure, that doesn't scare me. Question is, do I fetch here? Probably not. I don't. The thing is, I'm trying to play around removal. If I can just like force him to main phase or something, or if there's tap out, then I can fetch and then turn off their mana. But we'll see. Chalice on 1, sure. So here we have to fetch Arbor, and then we're just gonna try to lock out their mana. I think in this situation, I'm fetching the. I don't want the. What do you mean if it was ETB? Like ETB in what way? Oh, but tapped? I mean, that seems completely broken, no? Chalice on one. Yeah, ETB. Yeah, that just seems way too crazy. Unless I'm missing something. All right. So our one drops are pseudo dead. Well, not necessarily. If they play, I think we just want to close this game out, like, and not mess around. Oops, cancel. We get the Grizz here. This probably just like, to be honest, locks up the game. Attracts them. I don't think we want to attack. I'm gonna waste this, sure. Okay. Wasn't playing around that, but okay. I actually don't think we care. I feel like this hurts them more than it hurts us. So there's a chance we're supposed to attack last turn, but we're just so far ahead. I don't think we're just like we risk losing our mana or our collector for no reason. Also, good luck tomorrow, Max Carini. I know for those who don't know, he's playing in the showcase qualifier. I unfortunately did not qualify. Uh, I went 6-3. Actually, I don't know if Max caught this at the beginning, but I mentioned I lost to Doomsday. Max here was the Doomsday player I lost to in the last round. He has some sick tech for me that didn't even draw, but I saw because of the reveal pile. Namely the what is it called? Leyline of Sanctity, which is one of the cards I'm most afraid of. Slight mistake by me. I'm supposed to attack first before plussing, but I don't think it matters. Alright, they continue to wasteland me when they're behind, so I don't think I care. I probably just missed lethal around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just tick down. I'm just messing around. We're so far ahead, I don't think it matters. Sure. Yeah, I actually mentioned before. I think the Doomsday matchup is decent for the Cradle side, but not if you're running Leyline Sanctity. Then all bets are off. Like that, I have historically had problems with Leyline Sanctity. Ironically enough, name mostly out of Usopp spells because like it shuts off Endurance, it shuts off Thoughtseize. But like in this case, same thing, right? Doomsday shuts off Endurance, shuts off Thoughtseize. It's not unbeatable, but it makes it so your best cards are suddenly neutralized. Yeah, I don't even remember what the oops list from EW Asia looked like. I think I saw like Leyline of anticipation list, which is kind of crazy, but yeah. I don't know about that. That'd be a little too next level. Play Reverend Signs because I'm expecting Leyline of Sanctity out of Doomsday. It has crossed my mind to play that card, but its sorcery speed's kind of bad. Shindy, I don't know what they're on. Nor am I gonna like bother to look up. I feel like this is like an ant play or something. I know, right? Although, yeah, I could play Massacre. Although it hurts me pretty badly too. That's good to hear, Felber. I think this is like a speculative key, but we don't toss hands like these back on the draw. There's a good chance we're gonna hit a land drop. I love myself some free spells, but I think it's probably a little too narrow for Reverend Silence. Uh oh. Or it could be a good thing. If they go like, okay, it's that reanimator list. They should be taking the endurance here, I'd imagine. So the green force of will. But as always, force of will is still vulnerable to discard. One of these days, I'm just gonna play a 15 card all free spells sideboard, like Leyline of Void, Leyline of Sanctity, just all the free spells. My goal is to one day hit 20 free spells in the deck. I'm like getting close. If we cheat and replace the Thoughtseize with the Grief, we get there. But I don't think Grief in our deck at least is better than Thoughtseize. All right. I think we have to hope to kind of get lucky here. So if they whiff, well, let me think. Does Bombardier push mono red number? Actually, hold on. I there's a good chance they already have. Let's see what they pitched. They pitched Troll, but they also pitched the Reanimate. That tells me they already have it. So I'm gonna ramp. Does Bombardier push mono red to number one in the format? In my opinion, in terms of popularity, in terms of like actual strength of deck, uh, I think there's a good chance Initiative is still the best deck in the format. But it does mean that whatever is a lot better, right? The the moon's obviously you don't have to splash white. Form Aer Lingus is very strong for what it's worth. Sure. I'm glad I went with what I did, right? We just ignore the troll. It's times like this where I was gonna say we might want the Korean Ranger, but not even, right? I think we just get the swamp. I think we guarantee that we're able to natural order next turn. See, if this was normal reanimator, we'd be dead already. They Bowmasters, I don't think we care. Ooh, that we care about, though. still probably fine. Their clock is really slow. Like a 5-5, like. We can take this down. I just don't think we care. Like we could have just like green sun for grief and not grief, Gris and taken the threat, but I just don't think we care. Not to mention, if they top deck a reanimation spell, that our play looks a lot worse. They held a card in hand. That might be a Bowmasters, maybe. Hmm. Oh my god, if this is an agent, I'm gonna be really sad. 4, 5, 6. Let's do it this way. And then we'll leave our Reclaimer back to block in case they have Bowmasters. I don't think they do. They would have killed our thing. It's probably over, but yeah. Alright, the hard part is like how do we board against them? I feel like we don't respect their combo. If they happen to have it, they happen to have it. I think we lose if we play this weird game we're overly defensive with Thoughtseizes. The other thing is like there is a chance Invigorate is gonna be like really good for combat or like ignoring their Bowmasters. I don't know the exact list from the hybrid reanimator list, but my gut feeling is we don't really respect their combo that much. We keep the endurances maybe, and I think that's might be it. Um, do we want? I feel like yeah, maybe Seize is a trap here, right? Like, I feel like our game plan is just stronger than theirs. It's good against Entomb, but that's about it. Um, Force might be pretty good too. Like they run the Saga package. Do we want Invigorate? One Invigorate or one Bowmasters? Let's try this actually and see how it works. It's got Force of Vigor plus Pitch and Hierarch. Let's just try it for signs. This might be a bad keep, but we'll see. I'd imagine that other the reanimator list got a lot of free wins. I think we do it now. Just in case they do something crazy in turn one. Wow, okay. They might have just lost the game then. This is a very welcome sight. They're upkeep thinking about doing something. What could they possibly have here? I actually don't know. Like I'm trying to think what can they do on upkeep here that matters? They don't have a swamp in play, so they can't snuff out. Contagion maybe? I don't know. Yeah, that's true. That is true. What are we doing here? I feel like we do this now, and then play the fetch and pass. I thought about getting the reclaimer, but I feel like that's a little too defensive for my taste. Okay, I don't know what they kept, but a hand that obviously loses to Force of Vigor, I guess. Actually, let me check on the kiddo real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Regarding this deck list. I mean, at this point last year, I feel like the deck was just so much better than everything else. You just play anything and still win. Matt Sabo kind of demonstrated that. He played, I think, like a different splash color every week: white, blue, red. That's punishing waterfalls. Speaking of punishing waterfalls, his I guess podcast co-host here, Tony Scapone, or who is you want to call it public enemy number one, the person with the most kills against me on stream, is generous enough to rate us here with their party. So welcome everybody from Tony's stream. Hopefully Tony had a nice stream, a lot of turn one kills there. We are 2-0, probably on the very medium end of the spectrum in terms of like our combo speed. I think the earliest we can combo is turn two with turn two natural order for our Traxa, but you know not on the same level here as Tony. But we'll try our best to go fast. Um, that involves turn one Dork into turn two Evoke Endurance uh, with Cradle Mana and tap for natural order. That's the fastest we can combo in our deck at least. For what it's worth, Cradle has never been able to combo turn one, as far as I know, at least not at any competitive level. But yeah, I think here's a list for those tuning in here. The thing we're playing tonight is Invigorate. So I like it in theory because it's always been really good against red decks, but I thought that was too narrow before to even test. Now that Bowmasters is a big part of the metagame, it's a blowout against red decks and in theory at least solid against black decks. Blue decks typically rely on some other color, so you can almost throw that color out. in terms of like its weight. White obviously is the whole for Invigorate, and then green often plays dismember things like that. So some applications there too, but I wouldn't rely on it. Long story short, I do think Invigorate is like very well positioned, given the impact Bowmasters has had on the metagame. Also, secret mode. I have been able to kill people with hard cast Invigorate for +4/+4/+4 as a 3 mana Fire Blast. Surprisingly often, like I think it's been like not even a week since I played this card. And I think I've like killed 4 people already with that mode, uh, including once. No, actually, was it once? No, I take that back. It was I did not do that in the showcase, but I did do that a few times early this week. But I played it in the showcase last Sunday, so it's about a week now. Uh, Cast it 3 times and won all 3 games. So for whatever that's worth. Uh, Free spells are broken, so we'll see, right? Like, just it's. I'll put it this way: I've been impressed enough with this card that I'm willing to play a main deck to try, just because I started with 1 in the sideboard, and then I played 2 for the showcase, and then now I'm trying 3 because it's just been overperforming. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. So yeah, for those who don't know, Tony here is we have a running joke that he is responsible for the most losses I've had on stream because of getting turned one by the epic gamble. We don't know what our opponent's on. We'll just keep. Is that so, Tony? I didn't realize that. I know we played a few times, and I don't know how many times we played, but I can see that. What I've noticed, and feel free to correct me, is your builds, regardless of the deck, have been generally good against like graveyard hate, like immune to it, but a little bit soft just to artifact hate. So main deck collective makes a lot of sense, I guess, right? We're playing against Delver here. I'm gonna but yeah, I did not realize that, Tony. Yeah, we do have like Tony mentioned, a million copies of let's call it of collector oof. So that helps in stealing some game ones, and which has come up in some of our matches. I think I played Tony like twice or something, and I just happen to have like the consistent turn 1 dork into turn 2 green sun, right? Here I think we just take the endurance, given we're playing against Delver. Okay, so Tony counted 47 ways, right? The other 13 obviously are just mana. They're all guys cradles. There's an argument to be made. We're supposed to take the reclaimer, but you know, I'm just trying to like get a good feel here. Wasteland. That strikes me as Tony's holding up. Not Tony. Our opponent here is holding up days with force backup. I kind of want to just green some for 1, and then see. Well, actually, that doesn't do anything. Let's do it this way. Well, now I kind of regret like. Now I kind of regret not taking the reclaimer. Right, you can go lower to the ground. I might draw it forced. Hard to say. Alright, they're gonna waste their thing. That's fine. I think I like mono blue Delver. What's going on here? Sure. If they don't kill the shepherd, then we're slamming the endurance like next turn. Like no tomorrow. Also, Tony, if you want to plug your podcast here, you're more than welcome to. What's going on here? Sure. Hmm. I think here I want to go. Do you think Delver is well positioned for EW? Probably because I think people have control on their radar. Actually, let's go ahead and just do that first. So yeah, I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm sure it's probably a pretty cool podcast. I do know Tony's on there, and so is one of our fellow Cradle pilots in. I think I'm gonna get a Phenars in here. In what is it called? Maybe waste here? I don't know. Actually, I probably should main phase the Cradle so that I can there you go. It's Killaby, Matt Sabo, our Legacy Council, and Tony. Yeah, I heard something about like there's gonna be a million rounds at Eternal Weekend, so whatever that's worth. Brews of Paradise, there you go. And for what it's worth, Matt is a resident Cradle player as well. So you want to support the stream, then that's one way to do it. Oh, that's awesome. I would love to be on. For those who are curious, I do not have my own podcast, but I am more than welcome to, more than flattered to go on other people's podcasts, time permitting, obviously. The only thing is, I do have to stream the Patreon, but it's already kind of hard as is with IRL stuff. But yeah, I would be honored. So either our opponent has the answer here to endurance, or they're probably gonna concede anytime soon. Like this game is starting to get very out of hand. Like we have the thing about playing this deck is it's linear, but at the same time, as long as you can establish a threat on multiple axes, so in this case, a Fiend Artisan and a Gris, then it becomes very hard to beat the deck because of how linear it is, and namely the consistency, right? Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that, and take care. Yeah, that's the only thing though, right? Inigo and I are on different time zones. Let's plus here, I guess. It's just endless stream of endurances, right? Start bashing. This is also kind of why I don't really like Bowmasters. Like, it's good to I like the one up to tutor for to kill like, unflip Delver DRC, but like it's hard to lose once you get Artisan going, anyways. Okay, so they do have red. Sure. I think this game is like way over already. That's me. Like we have like a million creatures on board. Yeah, I mean they should be right. Like we're attacking for lethal next turn through a block through one piece of disruption slash blocker too. Yeah, I like thought maybe they were just new to the legacy or something. Like that's why they're playing mono blue. Sure. You don't get to do this too often, but it does come up. They have to block, and they don't. They're in big trouble. I mean, it's over, right? Like outside of some kind of free spell right now. This game was never really in doubt after they had the slow start. All right. Next game. We just bought out the natural order package. Actually, I'm kind of glad we ran into this matchup because we're gonna finally, hopefully, see the Invigorates in action, and they hopefully they don't let me down because they have been so far absurd for me in this kind of matchup. Not to mention, you play one Invigorate main deck, people suddenly are scared to attack into you if you have a blocker, right? Because they could just get blown the you know what out by Invigorate pumping one of the blockers. So anything like an opposition agent, a get off Teague, like they gotta think twice now whether they really want that extra 2 to 3 damage. Yeah, it's almost like we're playing Delver, right? Like you get Fiend Artisan and try to win the game. Have you ever gotten to get the double kill against Shadow Eric? Great question, Max. Because I've only played Invigorate 1 week and very limited sample size. I went to Disneyland the other day, for instance, and then like just like family stuff. I actually haven't even played against Shadow yet, but I'd imagine something that could come up. It's something that's definitely been mentioned in the Discord. I have had lethal with Invigorate a hard cast. I think like 4 times. So for whatever that's worth, and the sample size being pretty small. I think I've cast it somewhere around a dozen times, and I think I've won like 10 of those games. Where the two other games were games where you could argue I shouldn't have even brought it in, but I did for science. So those games were against the white decks, such that featured Bowmasters. So like one of them was DNT, and I lost that game, and the other one was against Maverick, which is like a similar style deck, right? With Mana Denial with Bowmasters. So I actually don't think I should have boarded them in, but this was like early on in the experiment, so I just wanted to see. But every relevant matchup it's been in, I have won. The one outlier was there was one Moon Stomping matchup where I didn't cast any spells, and for obvious reasons I lost because they had turn one Blood Moon. Keep. So I think I had one game against Moon Stompy where technically I drew it, but like I didn't cast any spells that game, so I still lost, right? The obvious question that people get asked is why don't I play LQR, Legolas's Quick Reflexes? Now, that is a card I didn't even bother testing because in my the way I theory crafted it, I didn't think it was gonna be good. Like I asked some people, I'm not gonna say who, but they really insist that try the card. And okay, let's see. I think we want that. Do we want do we want the dork or the cradle? We don't have any like payoff here. I kind of feel like no, it's not the Chris, that's for sure. I think we just take the dork just in case. Like my philosophy against Delver in particular is if you get the mana right, you probably will win. All right, so they did that. That's fine, I guess. Slightly wishing I took the Cradle now, but actually, I'm kind of glad that still happened because I got to I get to play the second hierarchy here, right? I think given what's happened, my worry was I take the Cradle, I draw a fourth land. That's probably game losing, or not game losing, but like pretty debilitating. And we still have a few more turns like where we're gonna hit land drops naturally. I think the scariest thing here is like seeing a Murktide Regent. I think we're gonna fetch safely here. I think they reveal Force of Will too, right? No, preordain. I take that back. Must have been the other game. How should Delver play its side of the matchup against you post board? That's easy. You just try to Delver me out. Any longer game is not going to favor the Delver player. Interesting that they're not killing the Hierarch. This is a 2/2. They block. We pump. We get blown out by a submerge. I don't think 2 damage is worth it. Actually, maybe we're supposed to attack, and then yeah, maybe we're supposed to attack. Maybe bait out the block so that we can save ourselves 3 damage. That actually might be better. So I misplay in my opinion right now. We're at 6, which is not the number I want to be at. Ideally 7. 6 is no better than 4. But better than 3. What is going on here? Now, from their perspective, if I attack with Shepard, and let's just say they saw on Twitter or something that I have Invigorate, then that's telegraphed. But I feel like it's off the radar at the moment that maybe they bite for it. Sure. The problem is we're behind on board, and there's still 2 draws. We can't for now. If they're wasting out the arbor, we can't stop the. Oh shoot! I forget he is for 6. Okay, that's fine. I keep thinking that was what's this, the other card. The delay from them is a little bit suspect, for what's worth. Yeah, that's fair too. Jesus Christ. I don't think anything would have stopped that. It's like really strange to me that they didn't play into the invigorate there for what it's worth. Like they waited till they had delirium, and that doesn't seem normal to me. It is. It is. Sure, this is like pretty ideal. They have more or less triple delvers start, which is how we lose, to be fair. It was just really strange to me that they chose to wait on the removal there. When that's typically not the right play, unless they top decked it. Yeah, 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 for sure. It's possible that's just how they play too. Like, hey Mike, how's it going? That they just like full aggro. Like, I think here we're just tapping out for endurance main phase. I knew they would do that because it's gonna screw up their Delver triggers otherwise. So now we get the free hit on the bobble. The alternative is they don't do that, but then they like screw up their Delver, right? That would be interesting for sure. Wow, that's an absolutely nuts draw. I think there's some merit here for attacking with this. We're telegraphing that we have another one, but I think that's okay. I think I'm gonna do it on their upkeep. Actually, maybe not even. It would have to be literally bolt into force. Plus pitch. And And we know that's not the case here. They try to get a Murktide Regent through here. Next turn is going to be a big turn for us. We're going to send everybody in. Or not everybody, but the Shepherd can start attacking for 6 a turn now. That's fine. We'll take that any day of the week. That is a hell of a draw. I think we nuke the thing again and then bash for 4. Opponent is under a lot of pressure now. Probably not. Do they have a bull here? Let's do it this way. Get the endurance trigger. The funny thing is, we can hardcast the Invigorate, and that's like super scary for them now. Okay. We're gonna cast Green Sun for 3. It's just depends on what we want to get here. Grist is pretty good too. Although if they bounce the endurance, then they can like attack the Grist down. But then we have like a lot of attackers. I think we just get the Grist here. There's no yard to nuke, and not to mention their DRC can probably power through it. It's somewhat recent, yes, Max. It's I want to say like a week or two, probably 2 weeks. It was definitely before the endurance. The reasoning for that is because with control on leyline binding, I don't want to trade down on mana anymore, and you just want the really one for Delver as a win condition, so to speak, right? It's pretty recent, like no more than I want to say 2 weeks or so. I just think the control matchup, it's not as good as it once was. Is part of the reason. And against some of these creature decks, it's not actually as good as people think it is. I would say it's probably 50-50 at best at the moment. I mean, we're gonna bash for a lot next turn. For sure. Murktide Regent? I just want to get this league over with. Yeah, I know, right? Well, he had to pick up the Invigorates. Maybe our opponent is double killing. They're taking an awfully long time. I'm gonna go get water. That's fair. I mean, I'm sure. I don't know if Popper Infect used to is still a thing. It used to be one. It got. I think it was Invigorate banned. Actually, now that I think about it. Oh, they bolted the Gris. Interesting. Attacking this. I think we just block with a token, right? Murktide Regent. That's like a little bit awkward because they lose their whole board, but then I like potentially die. Oh my goodness. Yeah, let's do that. They lose that. That's 12 damage right here. They trade down on multiple ways here. They must really want it. They are like in the tank every turn. All right, thank you. All right, I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. That took way longer than needed. All right, we're back. 3-0 so far. Last one took a while. We'll see if we can finish strong. I mean, if you like the combo tempo play pattern, Sadra, I think this is your deck, right? Uh, Something that people always, one misnomer that the deck always gets is people call this a toolbox deck, and it is not one at all, in my opinion. Like, the games, like toolbox, I think of like Maverick, where the games always look different. You're trying to answer different things. The games, in my opinion, for this deck are always the same. You always try to do the same thing, like artisan into win. Like it's not you're not trying to answer what the other person is doing. You're just trying to win, straight up win the game. Why? Okay, so we have like two situational cards here. I think this is a mole. Yeah, this is better. Part of the problem is we have a natural order in hand too, and with attracts in hand, that almost feels like a mulligan already because we want a natural order for Atraxa. Repia 1152. I feel like this is like a blue stompy player, but I might be misremembering. Mold to 4. Okay, that scares me. Anytime I see mold to 4 on the other side, I think combo, for what it's worth. Like, of the reanimator type. Red? It's probably Moon Stompy. They had like Aqua Draws then. or they knew what we're on. They're trying to mold a Fury. It's one or the other. I just think they're not. I think the power level is low. Is the problem. Mm, I think we're just gonna pass the turn. Like really no need. I don't know. Like I'm assuming they're on Moon Stompy. They want to Fury me. They can. This is pretty good, I would say. Like, so we want this in the yard because grows reclaimers, right? I think we just the life matters. So they could theoretically play Rabmaster. In that case, we'll chump, but I think that's fine. Yeah, okay. They must have had awkward hands. Motor 4 as well for our opponent. I'm empathetic towards that. This is one of the matches where the Invigorates are very good. So Snuff Out is a little bit dangerous, but I think I still like it. I brought out the Hoof because I don't think they can beat an Atraxa. Ironically enough, the Endurances actually come out now post-board. I just feel like against their nut draws, it's too slow. It used to be pretty good in the matchup. The problem is they're just so low to the ground now. I don't think it's good enough. Force is probably good. And we have one card. Probably the Lair. This is gonna be a mountain. Earlier I got asked, how's the Moon Stompy match? I guess we'll find out, right? Snowfelt's one of the best cards. It's high variance, but, you know, I think Legacy is just pretty much Haymaker Magic now. It's like kind of like when Vintage used to be, where you're just throwing Haymakers like for like 3 turns in a row, and whoever lands the most wins. At least in the Tempo mirrors. And our deck is like secretly a prison slash tempo deck. We're just like trying to maximize free spells. Against control or combo is like very different, obviously. Yo, moo me, bro. Jesus, alright. Oh my god, they hit the 6 too. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of damage. And there's like nothing we can do about that too. Like that's the problem with not having Force of Will, right? It's like 1,000,000 damage. We're probably already dead. Man. We needed that not to be a 6 anyways. The problem is we kill that, block this. Like, where are we going from there? I think there's like no out, right? Because we had to kill that, and then Yeah, I actually thought about playing that card. The problem is like the pitch count is kind of low. All right, we're just concede. I don't think we're winning this game. This is, I don't like. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Ironically, the Invigorate there would have been really good, but I mean, we're on the draw. That like, there's literally nothing we can do there. This is why I said the endurance is too slow. Why? Uh, like this is like really good. The problem is like it's like high variance. Are we gonna get the problem? The thing is like, are we gonna get to turn 4 for natural order? Probably not. We have the snuff out backup. Um, we could try for science. This just feels too bad. I think we're gonna mull this. That's better. Probably not that. Actually, I should have boarded the. I made a mistake. I should have boarded the force of Vigor out after I realized. After I realized that they're on the Turbo Muxus plan. So instead of the force of Vigor, it should have been another endurance. I don't think it matters too much here, but it could have. No, I'm over the grief. Just actually, the Bowmasters would have been nice too. I actually misboarded because I thought they were Moonstone without Turbo Muxus. I actually should have changed how I board game 3, but I didn't. Ooh, okay. Holy shit. Okay. Ironically enough, that turn that 6 card hand would have helped. Would have been good. I think we're dead here. I hate these kind of matchups. This is like so swingy. You can't really outplay your opponent. What are you gonna do though? I think my opponent's hand is one that we have to live with, right? Like where they have turn 1 Magus with Pyro backup. Like I don't think we're beating that regardless. It's unfortunate. Especially since we kind of need Snuff Out to deal with their Sticker Goblin. Ugh, man. How much did they mull the second game? They mulled a 5. Well, no, we mulled a 5 this one. We mulled a 6. We're dead here. Alright, we're dead. It's fine. The only thing, let's see, we didn't even get a turn 1 on the other one. On game 2. I'm pretty sure Leyline Binding was always good, and people didn't realize that. So the thing is, like, if we had kept this hand, it's like turn one do nothing, turn two like snuff out, maybe turn three. Like it's still at best a turn four natural order. Given that we're holding snuff out for their what is it called their thing, right? I don't think I think under most circumstances we're not being that hand because like we're gonna keep a hand with snuff out, and we have to go to play around sticker goblin. We have to go buy you into dork, and they kill our dork with pyro, then we lose on the spot. But um, you know, I think I think we just live with that. Like those decks by those decks tend to be high variance, and if we lose to that, we lose to that. The funny thing is the counterplay would be the invigorate in her hand, right? Actually, that's more validation now that I think about it, for the invigorate. We didn't draw it obviously, but uh, something to think about. I think if I were to go back and board for game three correctly, I would probably board out the bog, board out the shepherd. That's two. Board out the grist. That's three. And then board out the what else? That's three. Probably the lair. That's four. And then the endurances. That's eight. So one, two, three, four, five, six cards. So we can keep like two endurances, I guess. I mean, we do. We have our own nuts, right? It's almost a validation with that. In a weird way, it kind of validates our invigorate tech, right? Because invigorate actually beats that hand because they go pyro on a thing, we invigorate in response, then we can eventually hardcast the snuff out. We're playing against Ali here. I don't like the grist against Ali, but everything else is like reasonable. The problem is he knows what we're on. I like really need to hide my list from these lands players that scout us all the time. So he's probably gonna go for like really fast turbo merit lage. Bowmaster has no text. Ironically enough, I think we take the bog here. All right, so later, Sadra. Tundra? What is going on? Why is there a tundra? Maybe a life on the lone mirror? Sure. That actually makes me really glad I kept the bog. At least now we know why there's a tundra. I never know what Ollie's on. Like it differs from day to day. Sure. The thing is, we know we're gonna bog anyway, so. I really don't know what his list. Like days was one of the last things I was expecting. I think we're gonna grist now. is going on? Why are there so many dazes? That's good. At least we don't run the natural order to daze. This is actually not that good too against whatever he's playing. I think it's actually a blessing in disguise. He played the daze there because we would have just ran the natural order and lost that for no reason. I'm like very lost. What's going on? Mystic Sanctuary, bringing back the Lorien reveal to draw 5. That's pretty cool. Sure. Well, I'm confused what happened here. Sure. I guess they had another one in hand? Question here is like, do I play around double days? I feel like the answer is no, but he could have anything for what it's worth. Like it, when he plays Spell Pierce main, I don't even know. Let's not respect it. Assume they don't have it. Cradle. This is not an Invigorate matchup. Once upon a time, ignoble. So natural order or Green Sun Zenith. Probably just the natural order. Let's get the Fiend Artisan, I guess. Sure. You know the Lorien review, maybe? Yeah, that's what it looks like. Sure. Yeah. Ali knows the writing's on the wall. Like, we're not gonna walk. Like, we have the uncountable kill here. We're not gonna walk into a force with a natural order. Alright, the Invigorate's not gonna do anything. It's STP matchup. Knowing Ali probably has low, it has Earl. Probably the endurances are still worth it. I don't think this is a Grist matchup. I don't even know this is a Collector Oof matchup to be honest. Actually, we saw Saga, so it probably is. The problem is he could be on anything. Needle is probably good against Ali. I don't think I want Shepherd. Although it's hard, right? I don't know for sure. Bowmaster feels like it's bad in this matchup. I don't think I care about paying them 3 for Lorion revealed. Um, I'd probably just board like a normal Lions matchup, to be honest. Shepherd, it's like the problem is like, is it better than something else here? Maybe they tabernacle us. It might be better than like an artisan, but I don't know the texture of their hand. Collector Oof. They're playing 3 colors and it look like they have pretty stable mana base, so maybe not actually. Even though that they have, even though they have Urza Saga, I think maybe not. Actually, there's a chance Endurance is not even like good in this matchup. Although Loam is like must kill. Let's try this. Let's see how we like it. Nope. We're keeping this. Actually, I should have. Ugh, I don't have a 1 drop now. Let's board that out. This is what I mean. Like I don't want like mullet hands because I don't have a 1 drop, and I kept that on accident, but maybe I have to. I don't think, did we board out any 1 drops? We did not. We just didn't have them. For those who are saying that I have too many 1 drops, look what's happened. Alright. It's awkward. They're probably like, what in the world did we keep? Uh, can they use the second mana any way possible? I don't think so. Ooh, that's actually a pretty good draw. What it does is allow my Force of Vigor to resolve. Who's the mana denial now, right? We're gonna lose after that saying that. This is dangerous, but I think we have to go for it. Nice. Very nice. Once Green Sun, probably the Reclaimer. And the cradle. Actually, I don't think we need the reclaimer. Let's get the artisan. We have the second cradle, so probably don't need it. Sequencing could be better, in case they have removal for some reason on the Shepherd in today's, but I figure they probably don't. It's like free removal somehow, like a Solitude, but unlikely. I think that's game. Potentially, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking too early. Alright, Waste. Sure. Sure. I'm waiting for I mean, yeah, gotta deal with the Atraxa, so. Alright, we went 4-1. Our loss was to kind of the nuts from our opponent here on the Turbo Muxus deck post board. Deck actually felt really good, and actually in the one loss, I kind of wish I would have had the Invigorate. We can go back. I don't know if it's like main deck material. Like, I did a quick study, like back of the envelope type, where it felt like it was just good enough and I could board it out if need be. But if you feel safer, like another Shepherd, maybe you must another Bowmasters or like I'd rather have a second Grist to be honest, or a second Bowmasters, and I think I'd rather have the second Shepherd over the second Grist. Personally, like it's 1, 2, 3 that way. Like I think this card is like very overrated, at least in our deck. And the reason why I say that is because it's only situationally good in our deck, whereas the other cards in our deck are pretty much always good. And I think requiring being non-green is the real cost, in my opinion. So that's my like 2 cents on that. I'm only playing one because I don't really want to play Plague Engineer. I want a efficient way of dealing with um, I want an efficient way of dealing with X1s that have like DRCs and Delvers that haven't flipped. And not to mention, it gives me something to feed into if the Grist is already gone for value, or they dare me to untap with the Fiend Artisan. But yeah, the deck felt very good, I think. I was happy with the mana base. I used to be high on Chromox, but I think ever since they changed to 8 Hierarchs, I tried early in the week to play the Chromox one of. It just felt like they were kind of doing the same thing. And if I had to choose between 8 Hierarchs and 1 Chromox, I'd rather have that Hierarchs because, as we saw, right, like, I don't want to mulligan hands because I don't have a 1-drop. We kept that hand anyways because, I had the natural order, I had, I forget what else, but it was like a reasonable hand, like Force of Vigor, like a Haymaker card, right? But I value consistency, and I think the mana base is super consistent with this build. The number of 1-drops is high. I think we're only playing the minimum number of like, flex or whatever you want to call it. Good question, Max. I had for a while when I was on I think 6 Hierarchs, 1 Gemstone Caverns and 1 Chromox main. like a 1-1 split. Like that was a reasonable. Like I started with two Chromox. Actually, to be honest, I started with three Chromox. Uh, Even 5-0 with it, but this is way too aggressive. Then I went down to two, and then I tried Gemstone Caverns and as instead of Chromox because you're drawing Chromox in a collective matchup or something weird like that. You typically cannot afford to draw the second one. Yeah. I don't want to get into the details why, but if you want, you can work it out or just DM me. But the long story short is you cannot really afford to draw two Chromoxes. So I went to two get Gemstone Caverns. As it turns out, if you're on the play, you cannot really afford to draw two Gemstone Caverns as well. So I went to 1-1. Later on, I went to A Hierarchs, and I think the fast mana and the A Hierarchs, even though they kind of are fundamentally a little bit different, they do the same thing for a deck in the sense that they make sure your early game is more consistent. And I think I'd rather not be down a card, especially when our sideboard is just like all haymakers now. Um, I think one question I get asked a lot is like, what are your bad matchups? I think anything with Rite of Flame is probably pretty hard because those decks tend to be immune to endurance, and I think one reason to play this deck is you get to play four endurance main deck. Obviously, you can, depending on your metagame, you can actually swap out the whole set of endurance for like Snuff Out or Thoughtseize too. I think, in my opinion, Snuff Out currently is our strongest sideboard card, followed by Thoughtseize, and that's why it's 4 and 4 instead of like the twos for the other cards. But so, depending on your metagame, you can like play any number of Thoughtseize, any number of Snuff Outs, any number of endurance main. They kind of all the same slot. I think the Teague is like my one hate bear. I sometimes have opposition agent, and agent even actually won me two games in the showcase in the earlier rounds against Doomsday and Beseech Ant. I went like I said 3-1 against combo before the one losing to Max here. I beat Doomsday, Beseech Ant, and Turbo Mux. I guess that's combo, right? Like Cascade if you count that. Like the Cascade and Turbo Mux are like half combo. And yeah, this deck, while it can be combo, like the dam is gonna break at some point. Like, you can only play so much combo before you get got, and eventually I got got by Max here. Unfortunately, Max, I feel bad for him. He missed the top eight by on tiebreakers. He was finished ninth, but don't feel too bad for him as he qualified early in the season already. Um, I was pretty happy with my play overall. Let me bring up the tweet actually. Here's what I played on Sunday. Here's what I played. All right. Here's what I played. And here are my matchups, right? I started out actually 5-1. I beat Doomsday, Beseech, and Grixis Delver. This was a wild game in which I got to stabilize a game staring down Murktide Regent by flashing in Endurance and then casting Invigorate on Endurance game 2 when I was like kind of behind. They curved turn 3 Murktide into Wasteland, and I could never like they held Wasteland because they knew I had Reclaimer active, and that was just like awkward for me. So I had to like sequence a little bit differently. That's like one way to play around Reclaimer. It doesn't always work because the mana you net off the up front is like pretty valuable too. But started 5-1. This one was where I felt like the deck was lacking the 5C control matchup. I lost to Moonstoppy here, but they had the nuts game 1 and 3 where I didn't essentially get to play Magic because I was on the draw. And at game 2 I won because I was on the play. So I'm not too concerned here. That's sometimes what happens with Moonstoppy. Like maybe it's slightly unfavorable because you're pretty unfavored if you're on the draw, but I don't think it's like that bad. It's like I won a game, right? And like I said, they had the nuts game 1 and 3. Here I lost to Max Carini. I did beat Turbo Muxus. That one was a snuff out. I think was pretty good. I don't remember, but against Rug Cascade, I also got to Invigorate against a Fire Ice. That was pretty sick. So actually, Invigorate, I cast it 3 times. It was forced once. It countered a Fire Ice once, and then it stabilized game 2. Actually, the two of the games I cast were against Delver.
I won because of endurance plus invigorate, chump blocking, not chump block, but killing straight up a Murktide region and keeping the endurance. As I was staring down potential lethals pretty soon. I was at 7 and Murktide region I think was like a 5-5, but they had DRC as well. And then the other one, game 3, they went turn 1 DRC, turn 2, bolt my dork into. I'm sorry, turn 1 DRC, turn 2 Bowmasters my I think either Fiend Artisan or no, it was my dork, and then I invigorated spawns and drew out force, so that it was very good there. It was good all 3 games, and then I won all 3 games. But yeah, this is what I played. I played 2 Shepherd. It was actually pretty good. One thing about 2 Shepherd and 4 Endurances is you're probably going to be an underdog against like the Merit Lage decks game 1, specifically Green White Depths or and D&T. Like that's like 6 dead cards. Bowmaster's pretty dead too. That's 7. Bog is pretty dead. That's 8. Like probably not winning game 1 against Knight of the Reliquary decks essentially, but that's probably okay. Like I think the second Shepherd is pretty good because it can force through Invigorate too. I only played 2. And I played Teague and Caracas and Agent. Agent won me 2 games. Caracas I played because I was scared of opposing Godok Teague. I didn't play against any, but like I have been losing to Godok Teague, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, back to here. Anybody have any questions before I, raid? Well, here are my socials actually here again. And actually, before I forget, I want to shout out. This is Saturday. I think there were 2 people who did well in their local shop monthly weekly events. That's Chris Reinhardt went 4-0 at. Let me see. He went 4-0 at. Looks like Owl Central, and then Cass played at the Winna Duel. I don't know where, but and she was top 4 split. She beat high. She lost to High Tide, beat Stifle Knot, beat Reanimator twice. Now 4 endurances main would do that. Beat 8 cast Storm, and then ID'd with Storm and beat Green White Depths. So top 4 split. That's pretty cool. All right. Anybody have any questions for me? Like I felt pretty good. I don't know how I feel about the main deck Invigorate. I have lethal people with it. Not tonight, but felt like it was okay. It could be whatever you want, to be honest. I do like 2 in the sideboard because it's like less narrow there, and you can just bring it in as a haymaker for the red decks. And but yeah, felt good. I think the list overall felt good. We didn't feel like we needed opposition agent at least tonight, but it's something to keep in mind. The second needle is for the Merit Lage decks, but maybe it's not needed. All right, without further ado, let's see, who should we raid? I see somebody on, Modern Belcher, the Friendly Gamer 1992. There's an EDX player. So let's go ahead and raid the Friendly Belcher here. And thank you, thank you for everyone for hanging out tonight again. Hopefully everybody had fun with Invigorate. I think we saw it cast once, and it was not good against Unholy Heat. Somehow they knew to hold wait until Delirium to cast it, which is strange to me, but neither here nor there. Would have been good against the Moonstomping player, but didn't come up. I think overall I'm pretty happy though with the deck. The Force of Vigor, which I've been a little bit iffy about, did win us a game against lands. Everything else is like pretty straightforward. All right. On to the big friendly gamer, is it? Yeah. All right. Good night.